Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content. Well, it's time for the Honorable Judge Cowherd presiding in the court of my opinion. Today, you give me all the quarterbacks, all the young quarterbacks in the league. 2024 class, I am ready. Let's make judgments. Fire away.
All right. Do you accept the case that Caleb Williams is a franchise quarterback?
Yes, let me direct your attention to Caleb's star witness, his head coach, Ben Johnson. One of the best passers on third down, thanks to Ben Johnson. Fourth highest touchdown interception ratio. 37 touchdowns to 11 picks since he entered the league. Yes.
Okay. Oh, boy. Oh, what a lenient judge. Do you accept the case that Jayden Daniels is a franchise quarterback?
Now everyone rise and raise your right hand for Jayden's left elbow. Yes. Listen, highest completion percentage by any rookie quarterback ever. He is a highly mobile, highly accurate, highly coachable, really bright kid who's injury prone. The verdict is yes. He's a franchise guy.
I like how they got a photo of you smiling. Judges should be serious. Do you accept the case that Drake Maye is a franchise quarterback?
I would like to state for the record that Drake Maye is arguably the best quarterback out of the 2024 draft class. Yes, on pace to be the second youngest quarterback to lead the NFL in passer rating. Who's number one? Dan Marino. Greatness in a league of mediocrity is easy to spot. Drake Maye's great.
All right, now we get to the hard ones, Colin. Do you accept the case that Michael Penix is a franchise quarterback?
As your judge, you are instructed to disregard what you saw at the University of Washington. He just had his third major knee surgery in his young career. No is the answer. He is a pure pocket passer. I said when he came out, early injury would scare me. Right now, his wins are over J.J. McCarthy, Marcus Mariota, and Drew Lock. So far, no, not a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, all right, I kind of agree. Do you accept the case that J.J. McCarthy, after like 7 starts, is a franchise quarterback?
As I stated earlier, the evidence does not support any argument that J.J. is ready to start a franchise. The Vikings have averaged 17 points a game. When he starts, his completion percentage is rough, 54%. Passer rating, minimum 100 attempts, minimum 100 attempts, 58. There's no evidence to support. As your judge, there is no evidence to support he's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah. All right, do you accept the case that Bo Nix is a franchise quarterback?
Remember, J-Mac, we are all under oath to solemnly swear that Bo Nix is ready to lead a franchise. Listen, he leads the NFL the last 2 years with 8 game-winning drives. There is an it quality to being a franchise guy in this league. You can be great early, but if you shrink late, no thanks. He can struggle early. He and Caleb both can. They rise late. That's a franchise quarterback.
And finally, do you accept the case that Spencer Rattler is a franchise quarterback?
Stating his full name for the record, Spencer Benson Rattler. No, he is a backup quarterback. I mean, come on, he's 1-13. 12 touchdowns, 15 giveaways, and a passer rating under 80. He's talented. He reminds me of Drew Lock. I can see the talent. I know he's got a good arm. I know he moves okay. You got to win games. You got to make good decisions. Did you see who the Saints replaced him with last week? A couple weeks ago?
Yeah, Tyler. Yeah, I forgot about Spencer Rattler, honestly. But listen, you're a lenient judge. Colin, let's be real. It's a little early on Penix and McCarthy given the injuries. I mean, Penix barely started last year.
I will say, of all these, I feel very strongly what's really the Michael Penix injury, his third, is so I think if you're Atlanta now, you've got to start drafting a backup quarterback because he hasn't been elite and he can't stay healthy. I've said this with J.J. McCarthy. You would know if he could stay healthy if he was the guy by now. That's the worst part. You don't think he is, but you don't really know because he's not available to start. Bo Nix and Caleb Williams. Bo Nix doesn't get sacked, and he's durable. Caleb doesn't throw picks, and they're durable, and they're both great late. So I don't expect everybody to be Drake Maye. I will say, we talked about this yesterday. If you go back to the last, and I don't top my head, 30 drafts, you get one franchise quarterback, a no doubt about it, good guy, can make a Pro Bowl, or 2 or 3 or 4. You get one franchise quarterback every draft. I think quarterback plays better now in college. You may get 2 now. But you get a star about every 4 to 5 years. You get a Drake Maye, Drake Maye is a star. Drake Maye is they don't even have a good O-line or a good run game, and they may be the number 1 seed. With Denver, you have a stacked Denver's roster, Chicago's roster, there's no holes.
Right.
I mean, like New England's roster, I don't like their O-line or their run game, and they have no number 1 receiver. Drake Maye is what you get every 4th draft, right? Like a star.
So, but I don't like to throw around franchise quarterback tags. So I'll ask you, like, is Baker Mayfield a franchise quarterback? He's on like his 16th. Okay. Yeah. Sam Darnold, I'm assuming you think is a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then yes, I will agree with some of these, Colin. But let me ask you about Bryce Young, because last year, if you had asked franchise quarterback, hell no, right? This year, you're like, I can see him being my quarterback for the next 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so this is good. So you and I have talked about this. Put it in context. Sam Darnold's a franchise quarterback at $33 million a year.
Right. Yes. That's
Baker, who can be reckless, is a franchise quarterback at $35 million a year. I would keep Bryce Young at 33. I'm letting him go if the demand is 46. He is 100%. Small. He can get banged up. They have a pretty good run game right now. So he's got a very good offensive coach, Dave Canales. And the Panthers have 2 running backs, Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle. Those are good players. And they have upgraded their defense. I think Dan Morgan's actually a really sharp, former player, really sharp GM. The guys in the league I know really like Dan Morgan. I think Canales is good. Now, I'm not saying that Bryce Young's only good because of them, because nobody's good with bad GMs and bad coaches. Right. I think Bryce Young is one of those guys. Like, I like Bryce Young. I think he has more talent than Daniel Jones. Daniel's bigger. Okay, I think Daniel's got a better arm and is bigger. I think Bryce Young's more talented. I think he's just more efficient, more accurate. So I think there's those guys like Daniel Jones and Bryce Young. I think they're franchise quarterback. The number has to be in the 30s, and then you have to be like, 9 to 12% of the salary cap. You can't be 26%.
100%. Colin, you're right. So maybe we need a new label from franchise quarterback, because 35 mil versus Dak. Because if you look at the AFC standings, Colin, take a look. Yeah. The playoff teams. Look at all the top teams. Tell me which one of those guys are franchise quarterback, because Bo Nix and Drake Maye, top 2 seeds, rookie quarterback deals.
They're franchise quarterbacks, though.
On a rookie deal. Like Trevor Lawrence's hasn't totally kicked in. Lamar Jackson's barely in there. They're paying Lamar. Herbert, rookie deal. Daniel Jones, small deal. Look who's on the outside. Patrick Mahomes. You got to pay him a lot. Joe Burrow, I know he's been hurt. But franchise quarterback, money matters. I don't know how
I think there's 3 kind of quarterbacks in the NFL: franchise, bridge, and backup.
So is Bryce Young a bridge?
I think Bryce Young is a guy that you get a favorable deal on, and then you start drafting quarterbacks in the 3rd and 4th round because he's injury prone, and you just every other year, let's just draft a quarterback. Now, I used to think that about Dak, and it takes a while. Now Dak's in his 10th year, and he's literally as good as anybody in the league this year consistently, he and Stafford. So I think it's hard. Quarterback's the hardest position. I mean, if you go look at the 30 best offensive tackles in league history, 27 are drafted in the 1st round. Most of your great edge rushers and defensive tackles, 1st round. Yeah. But there are positions like quarterback where Dak, 4th round. I mean, just start looking around. Jalen Hurts, 2nd round. Baker, 3rd or 4th team. Sam Darnold, the world gave up on him. Brock Purdy, 7th round. So it's not easy. Quarterback is leadership and toughness and guile and pre-snap. It's a really hard position. There are 3 categories. You're a franchise guy, Justin Herbert. You're a bridge guy, Jacoby Brissett, and then you're a backup, whoever you want to, Zach Wilson. Or, I think the tough one is when you get a Bryce Young and you're like, All right, we like him. He falls in the Baker class. I'm not paying him $49, $54 million a year.
But I'll be honest with you.
33 is good. Yeah.
Colin, Drake Maye, $50 million, they're going to be fine.
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
I'll be dead serious. I don't think you can pay Bo Nix $50 million a year expect Denver to compete. Yeah, I don't think you can.
Let's give him another 10, 15 starts. Let's give Caleb another 10 to 15 starts. I do think Caleb, if you're telling me he's going to complete 58% of his throws, at some point, if you pay him, I mean, if they paid Caleb Williams this season, could you keep Joe Tooney? Could you keep DJ Moore?
No.
You couldn't. Could you keep Jalen Johnson? Hour 3, Albert Breer, Alexi Lawless, coming up. I'm telling you, that Cowboys-Lions game, Jerry Jones has had a great last 9 months. From April 24th, when the draft started, until today. Tyler Booker, 12th pick, first round, looks like a tremendous interior offensive lineman. The Micah trade, the Quinnen Williams move, acquisition in the Micah trade of Kenny Clark. Now DeMarvion Overshown is healthy. You know, Dallas right now is number 2 in the NFL in pressures. They're better without Micah. For everybody that said, oh, Dallas, crazy. They rushed the passer better than they did previously. Why? Because their run defense is better, forcing teams to have to throw on 3rd and 5+ yards, obvious passing downs. So you can pin your ears back. Micah was not good against the run. He's bad against the run. So I loved Micah to Green Bay, but I loved Micah and Dallas getting leverage and flexibility moving on. So you say what you want. Jerry Jones had a great 9 months. Still got 2 first-round picks. The Quinnen Williams move has transformed the defense, getting Kenny Clark. Yeah, when Micah was there, and this is before they paid him the big money, the run defense was atrocious. The overall defense was bad. You can have issues. Like the Rams won a Super Bowl without good safeties. You can have issues on the back end of your defense because, remember, December and January football, Miami Dolphins had Waddle and Tyreek Hill. How'd they do in December and January? What you can't have is a bad run game. Dallas last couple years with Micah was bad against the run. And so by getting Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, they're great against the run, forcing teams to now have to pass on Dallas's terms, not their terms. So it's okay. Not every divorce is one-sided. Sometimes both people do really, really well. Green Bay upgraded, Dallas upgraded. Much more flexibility. And we haven't even seen their 2 picks yet. I keep thinking they're going to get an edge rusher. Well, they're getting quarterback under pressure now. Just draft a bunch of Ohio State guys. That's my remedy to fix your defense. Go take a couple of Buckeyes. J-Mac with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
All right, we're going to your Bears. They're in your backyard. You love you some Ben Johnson. Yeah, remember, when he got the Bears head coaching job, Colin, he was talking a little bit of smack. Said he kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year while running the offense for the Lions. Well, Ben Johnson, hey, don't let your mouth write checks that your butt can't cash, Colin. Big one this weekend. Ben Johnson's Bears against LaFleur's defense. Here's Johnson talking about the matchup.
They're all over the field, and so we've got a tall task here at hand. And then when you combine it with the scheme, I think Hafley does a great job of making it simple for them, and yet to the offense it can seem fairly complex. And those guys just go out and they play really, really fast, and that's what shows up all over the tape.
By the way, he didn't compliment the offense. He's an offensive guy. He gave all the love to the defense.
Yeah. So are you still surprised that this is 6.5,
yes.
This line?
I'm one of my bets of the week is a very close game. I think Green Bay at home probably wins, but 6.5 points.
So it is interesting when sometimes the Packers have had a couple letdowns. Remember that Panthers game? It's like, what's going on with
Cleveland game?
Yeah. What are Cleveland and the Panthers? Not good football teams. I know the Panthers are 7-6, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When they play the cream of the crop, Packers rise up. I'm very curious. Listen, we know what the Bears want to do. They want to run the football and get a lead, right? You going to be able to do that against this Packers defense? Look at the numbers here, Colin. They don't give up anything. Micah Parsons, Probably second best defensive player.
What's your best game? What's your best bet on the board this week?
I can't give that out on a Wednesday. Come on, dog. You got to wait for it. I will say I'm on the opposite side of you here. I did bet the Packers 6.5. And they're a great teaser leg, a 6-point teaser. But I think the Packers hand a little truth serum to your boys.
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard in Philadelphia. That was going to be truth serum.
I didn't say that.
We keep drinking the serum and we don't get sick.
All right, let's move on to college football and the Ole Miss saga. How about this one? So offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss Jr., he left Ole Miss with Lane to go to LSU, but he is going to call plays for Ole Miss during the college football playoff. Obviously, they wanted to Ole Miss made some concessions. They want to make sure they host a first-round game. They didn't want any of that FSU stuff that happened a couple years ago to happen to Ole Miss. I don't have a huge problem with this, Colin, but if you notice yesterday on social media, some Ole Miss players were criticizing Lane's comments. Like, bro, that's not what you told us in the locker room. And now the Ole Miss AD is coming out and saying, and this just is breaking now, hey, guys, Lane knew he wasn't going to coach these guys in the playoffs. So what he's talking about now is lies, basically. And I just wonder, what are the players going to think when the OC leaves but's coming back to call plays? Isn't there still a disconnect? Like, dude, you left us.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I would just, listen, the breakup felt gross to begin with, but it's Lane's history. I would not go back to coach. These people were at an airport screaming.
Carrying their babies and screaming expletives at Lane Kiffin. Like,
can you ever imagine if I said to you in your life at some point, for any reason whatsoever, you drive to a private airport to flip people off and scream at them?
Yeah,
is there anything that could get you there?
I mean, maybe if you fired me from this job and I don't have my family was penniless, I'd go yell at you.
First of all, I don't go to private airports. Second of all, I don't have that power. I'm in for row 28 on Southwest.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Economy. I forgot. Yeah, but in all honesty, think about Charlie Weiss Jr. walking back into the locker room.
I think it's weird.
And everybody's looking at him like you ditched us.
I don't like it at all.
So I don't know how you're handicapping this, but all I know is if I'm a top 4 seed, I want to see Ole Miss in my first round game. I think that's an easy dub. For whoever, Ole Miss, you want that seed. I think it's the 3.
I totally agree. I thought that last night. I'm like, I want to play Ole Miss.
Yeah, assuming they get by their first matchup. All right, final story, Colin. Let's go to the Eagles. I pressed my guy Martin here. Like, what's the real story with the Eagles? I don't want to hear this. Well, the offensive line stinks. They were great last year. Saquon Barkley got slow. It's more than that. Like you said, they lead the league in 3 and outs. They've blown 2 fourth-quarter leads at home. It's very bizarre. They got blown out by the G-men, okay? Nick Sirianni's searching for answers, and this is his best bet as to what the hell's going on.
Of course, none of us are doing a good enough job right now. We all have to look internally and get better. And that when I say that, hopefully you guys always understand that I'm looking at myself very first, and I'm looking at the coaches to do the same thing, and obviously the players to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know nobody wants to hear this, but Super Bowl hangover is a thing, Colin.
Yeah.
It's real. I mean, it didn't really happen to the Chiefs every year. They had Mahomes, who was young, and Reed. But I look at this Eagles team, and they look like they're going through the motions, if that makes sense.
Well, I think the thing with me is it's another – I'll give you 2 teams this year. The San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator and the Eagles offensive coordinator are proving it's not just about players. We always think this league is about quarterbacks and head coaches. Coordinators, there's a reason they make 7 figures. The Eagles' talent on offense is remarkable. The Niners' talent on defense is bottom 10 right now. Great coordinators change outcomes. That's why I've said Robert Saleh has to be the assistant of the year in the NFL.
Yeah, that's not a bad. I mean, yeah. Now I don't know where you go with that. Like, does he get interviews instantly?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
He coached the Jets 5 minutes ago.
I would hire Saleh in 1 minute. I'd hire Brian Daboll. Yeah.
But I will just say about the Eagles, Colin, they had a weird thing. Did you see Jihad Campbell? I'm probably butchering his name. The rookie had an awesome start to the season. And then the linebacker, Nakobe Dean, comes back, takes his job. Campbell didn't have 1 defensive snap. And I'm like, what's that about? And then they got run over. Dean's more of an edge rusher. Campbell's a tough linebacker. I just don't know what's going on in that with the coaches, the OC. Like, I know his house got egged, I'm sure you saw, by some unruly Eagles fans who have no life Thanksgiving weekend to go egg a coordinator's house. Like, things are just wacky in Philly.
Yeah, they are. J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Judge Cowherd, the Honorable Judge Cowherd, will deliver his verdicts on quarterbacks in this league, young quarterbacks. Next, we're live in Chicago. It's the Herd. All right, let's bring in Albert Breer, and we'll eventually get to the college football playoff rankings because he's a Buckeye and he knows it very well. Let's just go Tomlin to start. What is the internal temperature in Pittsburgh on Tomlin?
You know, I think that there's definitely a little tension in knowing that a reset is coming, and that's natural just based on the age of the players and the roster. I mean, you look at the guys they've built around now and the guys that are the highest paid guys there. You're talking about Jalen Ramsey in his 30s, TJ Watt in his 30s, Aaron Rodgers in his 40s. Cam Hayward has been there forever. And I actually didn't mind the addition of Aaron Rodgers because it was sort of the last shot for this core of players that's been there for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Like, this was right. This was just ahead of where you would naturally reset. And when you do get to that point, when it is time to reset, that's when you start to ask the big picture questions. That's when the Steelers have to ask, do we want Mike Tomlin leading the rebuild here? It's when Mike Tomlin has to ask the question, do I want to go through the sort of rebuild that's going to take 2 or 3 years? Because I think that that's probably what the Steelers are looking at now. And I don't think, Colin, it's totally dissimilar from the situation in Philadelphia a little over a decade ago, where they reached the end with Andy Reid. And if you remember, the 2011 Dream Team season, that didn't work out. And then the whole thing came apart in 2012. And I think everybody in that building knew at the time, the last 2 months were like Andy Reid walking the green mile. Everybody knew it was just time for a divorce. And that didn't mean the Eagles didn't thought less of Andy Reid. More than anything else, it was just, this isn't working anymore. And obviously both sides in that divorce have done pretty well for themselves since. The Eagles have been to 3 Super Bowls and won 2. And obviously Andy Reid's won 3 Super Bowls and been to 5. So I think it's that sort of scenario in Pittsburgh right now. And, you know, I think that the state of the roster is what gives you the natural break point that could come in the next year or two. Okay,
Monday Night Football, Chargers 8-4 hosting the Eagles. Hypothetically, Philadelphia loses. Do they make a change at OC? Listen, 3-game losing streaks in Philadelphia is chaos. In Carolina, it's business as usual. In Philadelphia, WIP radio, I mean, they lose Monday, and it's a 2-point spread. I mean, it's a real game. Could something happen on the staff? What happens? Something's going to happen.
I mean, it's not impossible. And you're right. Like, Philadelphia is different. Like, I would say it's crazy to start to talk about those things when we're 10 months separated from them winning a Super Bowl. But it happened a couple of years ago there, right? Like, they were coming off of a Super Bowl in 2022. You go into 2023, you've got young coordinators that you really thought you believed in Brian Johnson and Sean Desai. One winds up getting fired in season. The other one gets fired after the season. And in 2024, you've got 2 new coordinators in Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. Now you've lost Moore. That isn't working out. And this sort of feels like it could be the same scenario. And again, I think Kevin Patullo is a really good coach, but the temperature there is certainly high. We know the egos that are in that room. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. It's just a lot of mouths to feed there, a team that's leveraged to win right now. And, it's a high-stakes game the Eagles are playing from year to year based on how they're structured here, again, how that roster is built. And so, again, normally I would say this is crazy, the idea that you could move on from an offensive coordinator in season this close to a Super Bowl championship. But, I just think based on what we saw 2 years ago, it's not impossible.
Listen, when the Cowboys traded Micah, I said, I love it for Green Bay, but I love it for Dallas. And it was I always think it's easy to pick a winner and a loser in a trade. But these GMs, Jerry Jones is a better GM than people give him credit for. When you talk to people around the league, and you mentioned Jerry, the GM, is there an acknowledgement? Pickens, Quinnen, Kenny Clark, 2 first-rounder, Micah trade. Is there an acknowledgement maybe Jerry kind of knows what he's doing?
Can I flip this around on you for a second, Colin, and ask you a question?
All right.
Over the last 20 years, when was the last time talent was an issue in Dallas? It really hasn't been, right?
Yeah, not really.
I mean,
no.
It was before Parcells got there, and Parcells was there from 03 to 06. Parcells rebuilt that roster, and I really feel, I mean, I covered the team day to day. I was on the beat in 07 and 08. I don't remember talent. Doesn't mean they don't have holes, but I don't ever remember talent being an issue. Like,
by the way,
I think
Albert,
from
their guards, their 2 young guards are studs.
They're excellent.
They're excellent.
Yeah. I mean, they've effectively rebuilt the offensive line now. Their offensive line, outside of the right tackle, Terrence Steele, all 4 of the other offensive linemen are 24 and younger. It's Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker, and then Cooper Beebe at center. And yeah, I mean, I think you have to give them credit for what they did here, because they told you when they traded Micah, this story isn't over yet. We're retooling a little bit. And I think what happened was, and this goes back to August, I think I said this to you in August, was when the conversation about Micah being traded got real, because they were trying to re-sign him, they started to take a bigger picture look at where they were organizationally. And what signing Micah would have done would have been to kind of say, okay, like, we're going forward with what we've already done. That wasn't really working. And so if it was Dak and CD and Micah making whatever the percentage of the cap would be, 50% of the cap, was that going to work? Or do you start to reimagine things and rethink things a little bit? And they brought in George Pickens at that point, which that again was something that required patience, because they didn't draft a receiver and they traded for Pickens after the draft. And then in this case, it was, okay, like, we've got a new defensive coordinator here in Matt Eberflus. Where did he have his greatest success? It was in Indianapolis with dominant defensive tackles, and that was DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. And now you see in Dallas, they re-sign Osi Odigizua in the offseason. They trade for Kenny Clark. They trade for Quinnen Williams. In that Raiders game, the first game they had Quinnen, they had 11 quarterback hits. 9 of them were from the defensive tackle position.
Wow.
And so now you're seeing what was a weakness in the team, which is the defense, with Micah as part of it, right? Like, that looked like it was going to be a weakness going into the year. Now that's becoming a strength. And the offense looks unstoppable with CD and Pickens. and Pickens outside. And on the offensive line, which lost Zach Martin, by the way, they've got 4 starters who are 24 and younger. I certainly think you got to give them some credit for the job that they've done from a personnel standpoint. That looks like a dangerous team going forward. And that's a credit to Jerry Jones, to Stephen Jones, and to Will McClay. Again, it took a lot of drama to get here, but that's a really good team. And they're playing really, really well and peaking at the right time.
Hey, the Chiefs, if I had to win a game, I'd rather not play the Texans, whose defense right now is just completely lights out. But there is a chance they could run the table. I don't think they will. If they don't, like, I thought the last couple of years, I would always put it in Andy Reid's wallet. He makes the decision. He'll pull out the I'm retiring card. But what do you do if you're Kansas City with Mahomes and you don't make the playoffs? Harbaugh and Herbert are going to make the playoffs, losing their entire O-line and O'Marion Hampton. Denver's got Bo Nix on that rookie contract. You start looking around, it's like, oh, this isn't even the best of the division yet. This was the year you were going to still make it. Could you see Kansas City making a big swing on something?
I could, because, like, if you remember, like, the last time it really looked like something was in a massive state of disrepair was after that Super Bowl loss to Tampa, where Mahomes got knocked around and they completely, like, blew up their offensive line. And if you remember, I think it was 5 new starters, right? So they brought in Joe Thuney from New England. They brought in Juwan Taylor from Jacksonville. They brought in Donovan Smith, and they drafted Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. So, like, they haven't shown fear for blowing things up in the past and trying to retool an area or multiple areas of their team on the fly. The Tyreek Hill trade was very bold at the time. So
yeah,
I think if you look at where they are, the one thing that sticks out to me, because I don't think the defense is broken, Colin. It does look like things are hard for them on offense. It looks like it's hard for them to churn out third downs that were routine in the past. It looks like there's more instances where Mahomes either has to run or do something like Superman in the passing game for them to look like they have in the past. And Patrick's certainly capable of that. But it's one of those things where as long as you have Mahomes, it's incumbent on you to build aggressively and be aggressive in the way you're putting your operation together. And if things continue the way that they've gone to this point, I certainly think you have to look at a bunch of different things, especially on offense, to try to turn the tide, because it does feel like, for whatever it's worth, like the age of Kelsey and then the state of the receiver position, like they just look stuck in the mud a little bit. And maybe that resolves itself, because there's been a vision here over the last, couple of years in the way they built, which is Worthy on one side, Hollywood Brown on the other, taking the top off the defense, and then Rice and Kelsey running in free space underneath. For one reason or another, it just hasn't come together the way they envisioned it. And so, I certainly think if things keep going the way that they have gone, that you would take a look at it in the offseason and say, what do we need to do different?
Finally, you and I can complain about the college football playoff, but it is signing day. USC has the #1 class, and I'm not sure if you noticed. Did flip an Ohio State receiver. Let's not get into it. Let's talk about this. Ohio State is really, really good. Julian Sand, I was texting pro people this past weekend. Presence, feet, accuracy, release. That kid is he's a guidebook on young quarterbacks. Yeah. But let me ask you. Michigan wasn't a threat. Is there a way to beat this Ohio State team? You've seen every snap. I think apathy. I think this is the last game. I think this game, because of apathy off Michigan and looking ahead, that would worry me. And the Georgia game, if they could give Julian Sand some heat, some pressure, he's young, he makes a mistake or two. When you look at Ohio State, is there any way to beat them? Because Michigan, it wasn't the team.
Well, I just want to show you a picture from last year. If you remember, this might be the 1-year anniversary of you showing me this picture, which was me in the stands. It's hard to see. We'll see if we can. But it was me in the stands, and you guys put it up. Like one of your Fox guys, it might have been Brady Quinn himself, took that picture of me looking miserable in the stands. And Ryan Day is 16-0 since you guys. So, I do have some level of trust in what's going on there in Columbus. I would say this. I think the thing that people are going to focus on the skill players, right? Like people are going to focus on Jeremiah and Carnell, and rightfully so. Like Bo Jackson as a freshman running back, Max Clare tight end. Like there's an embarrassment of weapons and riches on the offensive side of the ball. I think the defense is better than the offense.
Oh yeah, and so do I. Yeah,
and I think Matt Patricia can go to Ryan Day and legitimately say on a week-to-week basis, no matter who they're playing, get me 17 points and we're fine. And as long as like there isn't a touchdown scored on special teams or the other team's defense doesn't score a touchdown, they can produce that sort of result. The other thing is they're very fresh-legged. And that was last year too, where they took this strategy of being the slowest playing offense in college football. I think I read somewhere that they've played 2 games worth fewer snaps than Texas Tech, right? Because of the way that they operate, the way that they play, the way that they plan for this. And you saw what fresh legs did for them in the playoffs last year. It's allowed them to manage injuries to guys like Tate and Jeremiah. I'm pretty confident going in. The team that scares me the most, actually, this might surprise you, Oregon. That's the team that I think when I watch them, I just sense they have this other gear that doesn't always come out. But when it comes out, I think Oregon's got a chance to be pretty scary.
Well, also, they've been without their injury situation at receiver is absurd. They've been winning games at Iowa. They've been winning games on their 4th, 5th, and 6th receivers. So if they get help, those are NFL guys. So that's an interesting point. We haven't seen the best of Oregon. Ohio State's the best every weekend. All right, buddy, it's great seeing you.
All right, thanks, Colin.
Yeah, I like Ohio State to beat Indiana. I think it's a good game. I want to see Mendoza against this defense. That's why I'm watching the game, because it doesn't mean anything. They're both going to get into the tournament. Ohio State's got more Sunday players. I'll take them. Well, you know, J-Mac and I can't wait. June 11th, Fox FS1, the FIFA World Cup. The draw is Friday. Alexi Lawless going to be joining us in about 20 minutes. First, though, J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Yes, very, very excited for the draw. Let's go to the NFL here. The Dallas Cowboys are a threat, Colin. It's official. And I'm going to make the prediction right now. If they beat the Lions, they're going to run the table and make the playoffs. The Lions game is a huge swing game. Remember, they started 3-5-1. They're now 6-5-1. Dak says they got to continue to stack W's.
It's about us really just controlling what we control, winning the games in front of us. And right now, I don't think we're in a position where we truly got to, count wins and losses from other teams. I think if we just win and handle our business, we'll put ourselves in a great spot.
Here we go. Lions, followed by the Vikings. They will be favored. Chargers could be a dicey game. We'll see. Commanders, they will be favored. I don't even care if Jayden Daniels is back. And then the Giants, who are not a good football team. Now, 3 of those are on the road, 2 of them outdoors. It's possible that Washington and the Giants, the weather's crappy and they can't throw the ball. But, Colin, this smells like a 5-0 to me, doesn't it?
No, I keep your eye. The Chargers defense is great. Now they've got a run game that's working. I'd keep your eye on that. But I think 3 of those feel like W's. Detroit, they're a dog. I like them against Detroit. But I think Detroit and the Chargers, keep your eye on. I mean, Detroit is getting to a point. Detroit's desperate. Yeah. And by the way, we're surprised Dallas is this good. People were picking Detroit to make the Super Bowl. So I think there's
not here, not on this show.
No, we didn't. But that's, for the record, one of the best games ever on Thursday. That is a great Thursday game.
And indoors, so no inclement weather. It should be a banger. I'm with you. I'm on the Cowboys there. All right, let's move on to the next story, and that is a bit of a surprise. The Cleveland Browns announced today that Deshaun Watson was designated to return to practice. He has 21 days to prove he's healthy enough to be activated. If he passes, he can join him at any point. If not, he'll be placed on season-ending IR. In the meantime, Shedeur Sanders will get the start. Dylan Gabriel, the backup. Here's Shedeur talking about how he can improve his game.
Sometimes I look for the big play, and I do that when I feel like I'm pressing. Like I feel like we don't have no. When I feel like we need to get a spark, we need to get an energy. That's typically when I do that. Whenever we stagnant, So that's something I review with myself, and I know in those situations I can't do that, at certain times.
That's exactly what the defensive coordinators want. We don't think you're patient enough.
That's right.
To matriculate down the field. Go for the big play. Go for it.
Yeah.
Chuck it into too deep. And I don't know if you saw the clip, but Jerry Jeudy was kind of getting on his case on the sideline. Jerry Jeudy and Shedeur. I don't want to say they had words, but Jerry's like, I was open. You've got to make that throw. And again, it plagued Shedeur a little bit, but holding the ball. He's getting time to throw. He's just afraid to make mistakes. This is obviously stuff for a young quarterback. I don't know. Deshaun
I like Cleveland this weekend. I don't like betting on bad teams. I like Cleveland this weekend.
They're at home against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett may have 8 sacks. I don't know. But this Deshaun Watson thing's interesting. I thought the franchise was done with him.
Same.
But, we'll see. Final story, Colin. Let's go to your guy. This is your guy, Aaron Rodgers. He was prickly after the Bills' loss, saying that some of the receivers did not attend film sessions. Well, Mike Tomlin was asked about the team's swoon and said, I'm willing to do whatever we need to do to improve the team. It feels like things are falling apart here. Usually Ravens Steelers, you just automatically put the spread at 3. Look at that number, 6. I mean, Pittsburgh cannot stop the run against Buffalo.
I'm sorry. I like Pittsburgh. That is a ridiculous.
Really?
Oh, it's a ridiculous number for that. Baltimore's offense is stuck. 6 points in this rivalry?
You know how to get unstuck, right? Face the Steelers. They gave up 249 yards to the Bills on the ground. Now you face Lamar and Derrick Henry. And oh, by the way, this is fun. So Lamar's been skipping the Wednesday practice a lot lately. It's Wednesday. He's at practice today, taking snaps. This is a big one for the Ravens. They clearly were not locked in against the Bengals.
You're taking the Ravens -6 and the Packers -6.5?
I haven't taken the Ravens yet, but It's Ravens or pass. I ain't touching the Steelers. They're cooked, buddy. It's over.
Yeah, by the way, the Ravens put up 14 points against the Bengals defense.
Yeah. Now, listen, Isaiah likely fumbles at the goal line. Lamar hands them a touchdown, dropping the ball, his 3. A little wonky.
Okay. J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
This is the most excited I've ever been for a World Cup. By far. I mean, it's going to be here, Canada, some matches in Mexico. It's June. It's around the corner. Alexi Lawless, the draw is Friday. Controversy with our United States men's national team. He's next.